Kinlock,
Present.
Commissioner Clemente,
Present.
Commissioner Baidoon, Vice Chair Anderson.
Present.
Chair Hattis has requested an excuse. You have a quorum present.
As far as my remarks, I really have none. The chair had to leave town for something, I believe it was, and asked me to sit in for him. So I really have no remarks at this time. So we move on.
C, approval of the June 13th and July 25th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Have a motion to approve the minutes from from
So
June
moved.
13th and the 25th of July. Okay. It's been moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Not seeing none opposed. Move on to the next agenda item.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Okay.
Item 1, under new business, forwarding the June 2023 operating report for the Guardian Building and First Street parking deck.
Move to receive and file.
Then are we going to have just an overview of it rather than DC representative?
Good morning.
Is that better? Yep. Good morning. Hassan Sheikh, Director of Economic Development. I'm here joined by Shannon Haig. Please introduce yourself, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon Haig, Property Manager for the Guardian Building.
Shannon will go through a high overview.
Highlights.
Yep. of the items here.
Sure. The bank balance as of the end of June was $2,440,949.62. Property recorded a revenue of just over $362,000. And the operating expenses for June were just over $366,000, which records a negative NOI of just over $59,000. Those operating expenses were the negative NOI is as a result of overestimating operating expenses for the year and also having lease assumptions. So lease assumptions meaning that we're assuming that we're going to lease vacant spaces at which we have not yet leased to date. It's not uncommon for that to happen. It's actually very regular. And if you look through the history of the monthly reports, you would see that. We have made adjustments for this upcoming budget year to really look at how we're calculating our lease assumptions and being more conservative. We were conservative in the respect that we've been very aware that occupancy in buildings post-COVID have not really increased. Actually, we've seen a downturn in the market overall. I can tell you here at the Guardian Building that the only impact from COVID that we had in terms of occupancy was 2 tenants not renewing their leases, which was a total of 3,000 square feet. So in the overall scheme of things, having 467,000 square feet to lease, it was very minor. We have signed new leases. Most currently, and I believe it's represented in this June report, is Detroit People Mover is moving from the Buell Building over here to the Guardian Building. One of the things that we as a management team have seen since taking over management of the Guardian Building, we have acquired 4 Buell Building tenants. I believe that not only is it a testament to the Guardian Building and its historical significance and the desire for people to have their offices in this well-noted building. In addition, I was at the Guardian Building with the management team for 15 years. So tenants that weren't aware that I was here when they walked in the door to look at spaces have been very happy to see my face. And so I'm very pleased to provide, along with the team here at the building, exceptional service, responses immediately, constant contact with tenants. So that is a testament to the entire team here. The operating expenses for the month of June were favorable to the budget by $405,000, which is 4.69%. A lot of that is due to, number one, we have a ceiling repair on the promenade that has been postponed because of not only scheduling with the vendor, but also events. That is a $42,000 repair. That is now scheduled to begin the third Monday of October. So that is now on the books and we have blocked out so that we do not have any events through that duration. The duration will probably be 3 weeks, at which point there will be scaffolding on the promenade. Those of you that were here in 2019 may remember that in the early months of 2019, there was scaffolding on the promenade due to a ceiling repair that was in the corner where the restroom is at.
Where is this one located at?
This one is located at the second window stall on the east side of the promenade. So right in the middle of the new City Tour Detroit space. And it's just above the cove. And if you were to walk up and see that, you could see a big tear there. Mhm. Additionally, $25,000 was budgeted for roof inspection repairs from the inspection. And we didn't have additional repairs over and above what they do during the inspection. Also, we've been able to save money through professional fees that we have budgeted for and space planning needs that we haven't needed. And leasing fees that we haven't had to go to outside counsel. What we have done and switched over in the past 12 months is that our team is negotiating deals with tenants, putting together the terms, presenting them to EDC for approval, and then we're working with Corp Counsel on those lease drafts instead of using outside counsel, which then costs money. So we've been able to save on a lot of those monthly operating expenses. That includes fire safety, HVAC and plumbing with items that we've been able to do in-house. And so we've seen savings on average anywhere from $1,200 a month and upwards to $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month. You will see those savings in the executive summary of the month report only when they're significant. So anything under $3,000, I'm not really putting in the report. But if they're significant, I would like everyone to know what we're doing in-house to reduce costs. Okay. Delinquencies in the building. So there are, we have 4 tenants that are regularly delinquent. They're slow pays. They don't not pay. They just pay slow. Some don't like to pay late fees. And so the management team reaches out to those tenants. 2 of those are Pitts Law Firm and Attorney Kenneth Seabury. Attorney Kenneth Seabury has been in this building for a couple decades. He's up on the 35th floor in a little corner, has about 800 square feet. He is historically slow. What we are going to start moving towards now, because I do realize that the committee has a lot of questions about the delinquency and they don't like to, that you all do not like to see those delinquencies, is we're going to push them further.
Oh, and I would like to add with the delinquencies, due to us going through legal ramifications, we do want to respect that process and make sure that we aren't undermining that process in how we, and how much information we delve, but we are pursuing these delinquencies and making sure that we are going after that. We are on top of it and being responsible with
So
it.
you're addressing it.
Yes.
And that's what we need
Yes.
to know.
Yeah.
So are there late charges that they incur? And they do pay the late charges?
Yes, so there are late charges that they incur. Most tenants that incur late charges, pay them. They don't have any problem with that. We do have the couple tenants that really try to push back, in which case then if we negotiate a payment plan and we can get that paid in full within 2 or 3 months, we will negotiate down the late fees to get a good substantial chunk of money and then back at a zero balance. But we do have 3 delinquencies that are actually in legal action right now. Those three delinquencies are Foster Financial from 211 West Fort. They have a parking agreement over at First Street Parking Deck that doesn't expire until 2017. They've stopped paying their bill. Because they have a parking agreement, it is looked at as a rental. So we all know that if our landlord wants to kick us out of our home, they have to go through a court proceeding. This morning is the third court hearing for Foster Financial. We are hopeful that the judge will issue a settlement this morning. Foster Financial did not show up for the first two hearings. The second is Pure Detroit. Everybody remembers Pure Detroit on the Promenade. They requested a month-to-month extension on their lease through COVID when everything was shut down. When we reopened, they said they did not want to reopen. We said, that's fine. You still have a balance due to us, and they have not paid it. We have sent them a demand letter. That will be the next court proceeding.
I appreciate the report. We probably should move on.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Perfect.
Very thorough.
I wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that I answered those questions specifically about delinquency.
Appreciate it. Let me ask commissioners if they have any questions, and Commissioner Monique.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The elevators,
Mhm.
there are 3 out on one side, or are they just have never been used? I was just wondering.
Sure. So
about
there's 3 elevators not in service in the low rise, which is the elevators we take here. And there's 3 elevators not in service in the high rise, which is 22 to 34. Those elevators were never modernized before Wayne County purchased the building.
Okay, and so we're not going to ever look at.
What's the cost of that?
and-
So we have looked at modernizing those. All of the elevators that are currently operating are beyond their life expectancy. So we have sought out the cost for that. The total cost for all elevators in this building is $8.2 million.
Okay.
Yes,
And that is for the ones that are not functioning as well?
that's
total.
correct. That's
Okay.
correct. Yes. So that would put in service 3 elevators in the low rise, and 2 elevators can be put back in service in the high rise. The third elevator, which is closest to the alley, so the far right elevator in the high rise, has been vacated for a pipe chase. And that accommodates all the piping that comes across from 511 for the cooling of the building.
Okay, and for those that are disabled,
Mhm.
accessing the building, the lower level, how is that? Everything is working in working order,
I'm sorry, explain the lower level.
meaning the
The chambers level?
chambers, yes. Mhm.
So folks with disabilities can access the chamber level through the south entrance. There's an elevator lift at the south entrance of the building, and the guard then can put them in the elevator down to the mezzanine.
Okay, so
Yes.
that's only one entrance for
That's
any
correct.
one that's disabled,
Yes.
okay?
And that would stay the same even if we put all the elevators into service.
Okay,
There are not any elevators from the north side of the building that exit to the mezzanine.
okay, and are there, and it's probably somewhere in the report I was looking, the vacancies, First Street parking
Mhm.
is, do we have, how many vacancies do we have there?
Sure. The First Street parking deck has 1,461 spaces. We are currently leased in parking agreements and month to month, 1,432.
So fully
We're
leased,
almost fully
basically,
leased.
okay.
Yes.
And then my last question, Operation Greenlight.
Mhm.
We started that last year for veterans,
Mhm.
and I would like to work with
It's
you
already on our
again.
calendar.
Great, great. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, what floor are you on again?
16.
16. Okay, great.
I only have one question. I know a number of years back, there was a plan to the space below the mezzanine, the restaurant. Any progress on that? Is there going to be any restoration to condition it was in before they started going in there and tearing things out? Or is there any update at all?
There is no update on that space at this time.
Okay,
Mhm.
there's no interest. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your report.
You're welcome.
It's been moved to receive and file. All those in favor?
Are we moving
Aye.
items 1 and 2 or just item 1?
Reflect items 1 and 2.
Yeah, thank you.
It's gonna make myself comfortable.
All those in favor again? Yes, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, those two items have received and filed. Item 3 is an action item. And I think we have our not corp counsel, but commission counsel that I was told that you there was something that you had requested. Oh, pardon me, that's not it. We're going to do that under such other matters. I'm sorry. So this item, number 3, it is an action item. It's the FCC is providing money for broadband service and connected devices at no charge to the county. So there's no match for the county. Is there anyone here? Oh, you guys, good. All right.
Yeah.
Would you like to explain? Yeah, sorry.
Good morning, good morning. Again, Hassan Sheikh, Director of Economic Development.
Dave Schreiber, Senior Business Development Manager
Dave.
with Economic Development.
Thank you both for being here.
Absolutely. As you know, we are reconciling and doing a review of projects that were prior to my coming on as director. We are also making sure that we are doing a deep dive and responsibly making sure that we're, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, and making sure that everything is taken care of. This is a grant that was applied for prior to my taking over the department. And this is a grant that once the individual that applied for the grant no longer worked for the county. Thus, when we were awarded the grant, the communications were being sent to the wrong email. By the time that when we received a notification that we had been approved for the grant, we had a very short turnaround time of saying, they were pretty much saying that you have to go onto the online portal, accept this grant by this date, or you will lose the money. Thus, we, with a short turnaround period of being able to accept the grant, we had to go through the exigent approval process. And this grant is a great grant that will be housed within our Sustainability Hubs program, allowing for folks through the program, through the hubs to put on events, educational events, and to allow for folks to have education towards what resources are out there for broadband. It perfectly aligns with what we're already doing. And it's some money that will allow us to reach communities that need the information.
Okay. So the chair gave exigent, I always have trouble with the word, exigent approval. So do I have a motion to
So moved,
approve
Mr.
the
Chair.
committee? There's been a motion and a support for this item. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Anyone opposed? Being none?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yes, I vote yes, and I just, for my own mind, want to clarify through commission council, what are we approving? Are we approving her exigent approval, or exactly we just did the review of it, or on process? What are we doing here?
Through the chairs of this honorable body. So under the procurement ordinance, the chair is authorized to allow exigent approval for a certain number of days. In this case, it was 60 days. So you are not only ratifying that exigent approval for that 60-day process, but you are actually approving the item for beyond that time period.
Okay, so then this will go before the full board, and then
Yes.
assuming, okay, thank you very much for
problem.
clarifying.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Kinlock.
Yes, I've said in the past that I serve on the EDC board because of the several changes in personnel. A lot of things fell through the cracks. And I want to take my hat off to the director because he has been identifying those things that have fallen through the cracks, and a number of them have been very serious. And he's been both informing the EDC board and this commission. And I believe there should be a few more of these things that fell through the cracks that'll be coming forth. So don't be surprised if we have to take a few more of these type of actions.
Okay,
I appreciate the kind words, Commissioner. Thank you.
thanks for that. Any other commissioner have any other questions or comments right this time? If not, Madam Clerk, move on to the next item.
I would also just,
Oh,
I would, on behalf of our Economic Development Department team and the county, I would like to thank commission staff and the commissioners and Chairwoman Bell for expediting and helping us move through this process. So thank you very much.
Yes, they went far above and beyond
Thank
to
you.
help us. Much appreciated.
Great. Yeah, we're lucky to have them and they continue. Right, moving on.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
Are there any such matters that we? Yeah, oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
We,
our
Through-
commission
right.
council.
So through the chair, yesterday we received a request from the administration for immediate consideration of an item that we got late yesterday afternoon. So staff has not reviewed the item, but because the item would normally come to this committee, we did request that the department come and just briefly tell you about the item, but it's not before you for a vote. Again, staff will review it and we'll ensure and work with the department to make sure it's ready for full board.
so again, good morning. Hassan Sheikh, Director of Economic Development. So as Commissioner Kenlock gave the perfect staging, this is another one of those areas here. So as we are doing a reconciliation of all projects, this is from our community development division. This has to do with from our CDBG, the ESG CV funds specifically allocated for COVID. As we were doing a reconciliation of those funds and the projects, we were made aware that there was a certain amount of funding that was not allocated yet. And we have until September 30th to allocate those funds, to spend those funds, otherwise we lose those funds. So due to the short turnaround period, that is why we've come before you all, and we asked for immediate consideration just due to the time constrictions. We are looking to enter into a contract with Samaritas that offers, services to homeless families. As this exact type of funding, we've entered into them with a contract that mirrored this. So we are sure that they have the capacity and the ability to successfully see through this program and get these funds spent and utilized to provide resources for those that need it. And that is the background of why we are going through the immediate consideration as well as a high level of the contract with Samaritas.
Quick question, is this the same contract that we've had with them for a number of years? It's a renewal of that contract?
This is not the regular ESG contract that they get every year. This is an extension of what we received for COVID, and we did have a contract with them for COVID funds, and so we're just adding to those funds for them to be able to expend it for COVID.
And to be specific, so ESG, this is going to be ESG-CV COVID funds. So these ESG funds were specifically allocated by the feds for COVID, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were just giving us an update, but it'll be coming to the full commission then. Okay. All right. Any questions from commissioners? Any? Okay. Oh, Commissioner Baker McCrory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you just clarify again what they're going to do with the funds? You said help or assist homeless. families.
Homelessness with food, as well as part of the administering their portion of, the staff to administer these funds, purchasing food for the homeless.
And they also provide emergency shelter for homeless families, for 2-parent families, single mothers or fathers with children, as well as pregnant women.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Clemente.
I know we're going to be reviewing this, but can you give us an idea of how much money we're talking here if we don't do this by September 30th?
$306,875.26
All right.
to the T.
Are there any other questions? All right. So this was just a informational item. Madam Clerk, next item on the agenda.
G, public comments.
Did we receive any cards or do we have anything online, questions or asking to be recognized?
No emails were received.
Okay. Anyone in the audience here today has a question or a comment? Seeing none, we'll move the agenda.
Adjournment.
Do I have a motion?